The lowest point in my life was when my child decided to go back to his father rather than stay with me. And that hit me really bad and really hard. Life is not always glorious and happy and bed of roses, as we all know. There were moments where, I'll be very honest, I felt like, why am I living? I was questioning. I became a bit not suicidal, to be very honest.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Today's episode is going to be a very interesting one because I have a very special guest visiting us all the way from India. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself and we're going to get right into it. Welcome, Ashima. Please introduce yourself to our guests.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Ashima Achantani. I'm a nutritionist or a health coach, as you can say. And my focus is basically on metabolic disorder reversal. So that can include PCOD, thyroid, diabetes. So that is my focus. And that is what I've been doing since past 6 years now.
Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. Okay, so this podcast is about the mindset. And I'm sure in your work, you deal with a lot of mindset issues with your clients. But we're going to talk about empowering our audience to develop an empowered mindset, what I like to call the warrior mindset. So tell us on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like really low and kind of like, struggling, to 10 being like total warrior mode on, where do you find yourself on a day-to-day basis?
Now I would say I'm anywhere between 8 and 9.
8 and 9. That's beautiful. I'm sure it wasn't always like that.
No, not at all. It was never that way. And it can never be consistently that way. It is always low and high with everything that's happening in our life and different things that happen.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And even as a coach who coaches on mindset and intuition and all that good stuff, I know that we can't always stay high. We have ups and downs, and that's what makes life interesting, right? Okay, so we're going to get deep, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Let's peel all the layers.
Let's peel the layers. She knows my lingo. I love it. Awesome. All right, so my first question to you would be, have you had an experience that may have challenged you to stay in that 8 or 9? Or can you think back to where this transition may have started for you?
Okay. So I was never an 8 and 9, okay? Before the current state, I'll be very honest about it. Life is not always glorious and happy and bed of roses, as we all know. So going back around 7-8 years ago, my lowest point was my separation. That's what I thought. But
and you're talking about separation from your husband.
Yes. So separation from my husband. But that was not really it. I had more coming. So after my separation, once we struggled through our divorce, and the lowest point in my life was when my child decided to go back to his father rather than staying with me. And that hit me really bad and really hard. It was a very, very terrible state. And after that, I was not in touch with my child for almost 2 years. That was the...
Oh,
yeah.
I know. It's, that sounds devastating. Just listening to you talk about it. I mean, a separation and then a divorce, that's hard enough.
Yeah.
And then you have to deal with losing your child and not being able to connect with him for 2 years. I mean, that sounds really, really difficult, right? And when I think about perspective, right? And I think about the problems that I faced in my life, and I'm like, what was I complaining about, right? Because we've when you, and that really works wonders for me, because when I listen to someone else's struggle, it instantly makes me aware that I have really got nothing to complain about. Yeah. And I hope that this is what other people listening to your story will also take away. And I want to thank you for being honest and sharing and getting real with us, because I know it can't have been easy for you to share that. but it's a testament to your journey and how far you've come. And so I think I really appreciate you going right into it with us.
Absolutely. I feel what I've been through, a lot of people don't have the courage to go through because of the uncertainty that will come and how difficult it is. But again, like just how you just said that you gain strength from listening to my story and see, oh, there's nothing to complain about. Exactly, that's where I gain my strength from, because I have seen people go through worse than me. And I'm like, oh, what am I complaining about? If it's regarding my child, he's okay, he's with his father. So it took me a while to get there, but that was a very, very dark zone. And you cannot compare traumas and difficult situations for either of us.
Right.
But it does give you a lot of strength to talk to other people going through difficult times.
Yeah.
So me being honest is a way of letting the world know, see, I've been there, and if my story gives you some strength, that's what I want to do. So I'll be very honest.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That's beautiful. Okay, so tell us a little bit about how that felt in that moment where you learned, or that decision was made that you won't be able to see your child for 2 years. At your lowest, what was your mindset like? Because obviously you said you weren't there where you are now. So where were you? What was that mind? What was going on in there at that time?
See, when you think about it and when it actually happens are two different things. You think, okay, you'll be fine. Everybody is supportive. Okay, you'll be okay. But when you're exactly in that situation and when you feel that void, when you don't see your child being there around you, and as a mother, you have a certain sense of control over certain things of your child. Okay, this is how he's gonna lead his day. This is how he's gonna study. This is what he's gonna do. Okay, I have to give him this medication and all of that. And suddenly, there's nothing. So that's when the reality starts to check in. You get into that spiral, a downward spiral, and it's a very dark phase where it's still giving me goosebumps. Like there was a place and a time where I could not get out of my bed. I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like working. I didn't feel like doing basic tasks had also become like very difficult. I would be very honest, I didn't feel like going and taking a shower as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's classic depression, right? The symptoms that you're describing, and it's a very worthy reason to feel that way. So when and how did you start to make this come back to where you are today? Because when you're in that mindset where you're struggling so much and you're in that downward spiral, as you said, how do you then find your way up? Was there a moment that made you decide, okay, I've had enough, I'm going to find my way up? Or was it a series of things that happened? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It was a series of things that happened. It was a very progressive thing. Like I went down progressively, I came up progressively. Nothing can happen overnight.
Oh, I love that. I want to pause there and just repeat that, because when you're going in a downward spiral, coming back up will also be a journey. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Not at all.
I love it. Okay. Tell me more. Yes.
So when I was in that dark zone, I am fortunately blessed to be around mediums and healers in my life. Like you, like my family. I have so much of love and blessings around me. They help me. And because the universe wanted me to get out of that situation, I met the right people at the right time. I met people who've had faced more difficult times than what I have. I met people who could encourage me and support me. I met people who healed me. I met therapists. I came across the best of the podcast which were really aligned to where I had to go and to come out of it. There were moments where, I'll be very honest, I felt like, why am I living? I was questioning. I became a bit suicidal, to be very honest. But then I knew I had to stay alive because I knew I will meet my child someday.
Yeah.
I met the right people who helped me come out of there.
Sounds like it took a village.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so grateful to all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be here without them.
Were you able to see hope in those dark moments?
When I was at my lowest, no. But with all of them, I started to see that. My perspectives started to shift. And slowly, that hope came in. And then I was like, okay, I have that confidence in me that I can do it. So that empowering happened through
Over time.
Over
Yeah.
time, yeah.
So it's one of the things that I talk about in my programs and workshops is that having that community around you.
Yes.
And I think that looking back at your story, it sounds like that was the biggest blessing
Absolutely.
in disguise, that you had that community.
Absolutely. If you don't have it, I don't think you can come out of it that easily. You need, if not a community, at least one right person to bring you out of it. And the more people there are to support you, it just becomes easier.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to kind of mention the right people, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes you have people that pull you down, they make it
Absolutely.
harder. So you want to really make an active effort to create a positive, uplifting community around you.
Absolutely.
That's beautiful. I love that. So let's go into your transition from there to here. You had the support, you had the community, but I'm sure there was a lot of work that you had to do personally, right? Let's talk about that a little bit. What was that like? What did that look like for you?
For me, it was the thing that really helped me was speaking about how I was feeling throughout.
Okay.
Finding the right people, like you said, to discuss, like a therapist or a healer who knows what you need at that time. Okay. Apart from that, what I did personally on a personal level was journaling. That really helped me. Journaling as in not only just journaling about what happened, what I need, I could get answers from there. I could get hope from there, but also gratitude journaling. That made me realize, oh, I have so much to be thankful about. Okay, there's a part of my life where I face this problem. Okay, that is going to remain and that will solve when it has to. But there are so many other things to be grateful about. That really helped me.
Oh, I love it. What I'm hearing is, I talk a lot about this, is where do I have control and where do I not have control?
Absolutely.
And so where you didn't have control, you were able to put that aside and be like, okay, this is the part that I cannot control. Let me put that aside and focus on what I can control.
Absolutely.
And what I can look at. And my life has all of these other great things that I can appreciate. And I know people who have lost their children. So I'm thinking that's another, when you said like your child is healthy, your child is well, your child is with his father, like it's not like the end of the world. Like this will get resolved at some point.
Yes.
So gratitude and, trying to control what you can. Seems like what worked for you.
Absolutely.
Oh, so good, so good, so good. Okay. So tell us how things are now. Has it gotten better? Are you able to connect with him? Tell us a little bit about where you are.
Oh, things have improved drastically. I started really praying for my child because that was the only thing in my control related to him. And, even if it took 2 years, it worked. Things turned around. I was able to get in touch with him. Universe aligned things for me and him. Now I do get to meet him as well and I do get to talk to him. And that's when I remind myself, next time you're in a difficult situation, always remember there's always a way out. Everything is figureoutable.
Yes.
Everything works out in the end. You just don't have to give up. And that is something that helps me stay positive now. I would not say I'm always in 8 or 9s. I would drop down to 5 or 6.
Sure.
But then I don't go down to, 1 or 2 anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That reminds me.
Oh, that's so good. So good, so good, so good. I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation because I want to keep going, but in order to respect the time, I want to, bring us back to kind of some wrapping up some of our thoughts and telling the audience a little bit about, let's say you have a message that you want to leave people who are listening with. Somebody who might not be struggling with the same exact thing as you did, but can relate because of the enormity of the struggle, right? People go through health issues, people go through, physical issues, they go through financial issues, relationship issues, right? So what would you say to the listeners if someone is in that, 1 or 2 level, struggling really hard to come out of that? What's one thing that you would say to them?
I'd like to tell you all, first of all, just hang in. Wait. Don't go down below this. There is a ray of hope. You will come out of it. And to come out, build your village around it. Find the right people. Connect with healers like Chitra, Rochlani. Find your tribe. They are going to help you come out of it. You need that. You cannot just do everything on your own, and it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to be in that state, but it is not okay to stay there for long because that will suck you even more.
Yeah.
So find the right people, voice it out. You have people around you. You just need to figure them out or reach out to Chitra.
Thank you for that plug. That was not planned, but I agree with what you're saying because I feel like we all deserve to feel better. We all deserve to feel at our best. And a lot of that work starts with the mindset, right?
Yes.
A lot of it. And so I want to thank you so much for sharing your story so honestly and so vulnerably. And I'm so glad that you have managed to break free of that low vibe state and have been able to raise your energy. And now you help people work on their health and their nutrition. And I'm sure there's a lot of mindset talk going on over there.
Absolutely.
So I want to know where people can find you if they want to, work with you on their health concerns, their metabolic disorders, their, all of the issues that they deal with when it comes to food healing them. So tell us where we can find you.
You can all find me on Instagram. My handle is thehealthstory01. And otherwise, you can just mail me on nutritionistashima@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy for this to reach other people and help them and inspire them.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful podcast. I love being here.